Na, wie kocht man für 800 Leute? Für eine Person kochen ist schon schwierig. Immer zu viel.
When U.S. Army soldiers are on deployment or running field exercises, they have to eat a lot.
You got this burning right here and no food cooking. Stop.
That's where Army culinary specialists come in.
If a unit goes out to the field,
Sind
if a
das
unit
gigantische
deploys,
Dosen.
well, they've got to eat. So we're going with them.
After completing basic training, future culinary specialists head to Fort Lee, Virginia, to train for 8 weeks, where they'll learn how to cook for up to 800 soldiers in this. It might not look like much now,
Stand clear.
Aber es wird gigantisch.
but when it's fully assembled, it has the capability to act as a fully functioning kitchen that can keep troops fed in the most remote of environments.
800
We went from a
Leute.
box on wheels to a whole freaking kitchen, right?
But before trainees cook for hundreds of hungry soldiers out in the field,
That shit looks like more than 5, doesn't it?
they have to start with the basics.
Alle einzeln eingepackt?
Some of them don't even know how to turn a stove on.
Insider spent 5 days at Fort Lee, observing several classes at various stages of training.
One of the main things that I like to tell my soldiers as I'm training them is we don't just provide food, we provide fuel. For those personnel who are on the front line, for the war fighter, fold this side in.
3,000 to 4,000 members of the Army and National Guard graduate every year from the 8-week course, which is broken down into 5 sections. First, classroom training on food safety, sanitation, and nutrition. Then, hands-on training in the techniques of cookery, before moving on to baking, cookies, pies, and more. Next, 5 days of cooking in the
Ist ein
garrison.
bisschen sweet, dass sie da richtig Backen mit drin haben. Ich dachte jetzt wirklich einfach nur Nutritional Value, für 800 Leute kochen, wie ist das, wie vergiftest du niemanden, wie hältst du Hygienestandards ein, aber dass sie natürlich mit dieser kleinen Spritzbeutel da den Kuchen garnieren, das ist ein bisschen sweet.
Dining hall. Finally, training culminates outdoors, with a week of cooking in the Army's mobile kitchens. Trainees arrive at Fort Lee with varying levels of cooking experience.
What kind of experience did you have cooking before arriving at Fort Lee?
I cooked a lot with my mother.
I have an associate's degree in culinary arts.
I had no experience at all cooking.
Prior experience is not necessary. One of the awesome things about our job, everything you need to know, we can teach you here.
So the customer ate it, they got sick. That's all it takes.
Training begins in the classroom, with 2 days of instruction in sanitation and nutrition.
The information that trainees learn is to ensure that they're cooking good, nutritious food for the warfighter. And then they also learn about safety, sanitation, how to prevent infectious disease, how not to transfer and cross-contaminate food, and then how to provide safe meals.
Sanitation is everything. If your people aren't safe and if you aren't safe, then the mission can't be completed.
Trainees are tested at the end of each block of training in the form of a 50-question exam.
We have anywhere from 9 to 15 different diseases that they learn. And then they have to understand what food items they're found in, how do their practices impact their ability to be able to spread those diseases to different customers within those facilities.
You will go to your stations, you will put on your
Ich
hat.
finde auch gut, wie er sagt, Kunden und nicht Soldaten. Das dann wieder den Anspruch erhöht und eine Verantwortung gegenüber dem Kunden zeigt und nicht einfach nur, das sind Soldaten, die sollen fressen, was auf den Tisch kommt, sondern dass der Anspruch ganz schön hoch ist. Pretty nice.
Put on your apron.
Training moves from the classroom to the cooking labs during techniques of cookery.
The techniques of cooking is basically their first introduction to the kitchen. Some of them don't even know how to turn a stove on, so that's where I get to teach them how to use their equipment.
But before they start cooking, trainees need to become familiar with the tools they'll be working with.
This first bend in your finger, this first little knuckle, all right, this is gonna be the furthest point out. So this is gonna be on your knife. It'll be just like this. There's a couple methods that I use, like a claw method, making sure that they tuck their fingertips underneath, because in our field, you kind of need your fingers, you kind of need all of them. Cube is what? Same size all around, right? All right, so.
Trainees get to see instructor demonstrations on how to cook certain foods during their first 4 days in the labs. But they won't have that luxury later on.
Weigh up your beef, put it in your large pot, and you just move on to the next step, okay? They'll come up to our front of our stations, and we'll literally show them how to do it step by step, accordance with the recipe card. Then they have the opportunity to go back to their stations and apply what we taught them how to do that product.
Sieht doch
If you
geil
don't
aus.
have rice in your small pot yet, half a cup of rice, all you have to do is read your recipe cards, guys. That is key.
Pass auf.
If your beef stew is at a boil, you're gonna put the lid on your beef stew and then turn it down to a simmer. Yeah, I think in this whole procedure, if you don't understand how to read a recipe card, then you're gonna fail. You have to be able to read it step by step. That way you can learn how to do these things and execute. That looks like more than 5, doesn't it? Jesus. There you go, okay? The hardest thing is probably retaining information, learning the techniques that we teach them, and then applying it. Take your ladle. You don't want to overkill. Make it look nice and neat. Part of your grade is presentation, guys.
Once the trainees have completed their recipe, they bring their finished product to the back of the
Halbe
cooking lab
Kochausbildung.
to be graded on presentation, technique, and execution.
We teach them the basics, it's how to cut, how to slice. We also teach them how to simmer, how to braise, how to saute, and then we teach them about moist heat, dry heat. All those things incorporated get them ready for what is known as a cook-off at the 5th day. Don't stress out. Have fun. Make sure you have your utensils.
During the cook-off, trainees have 1 hour to prepare a chef's salad, green beans lyonnaise, and spaghetti with a ragu sauce, but won't receive a demonstration or explicit guidance from their instructor.
Coming in today for cook-off, I was actually excited because I enjoy cooking. That's fun. I was a little nervous about what to expect, unknown, not knowing like, oh, I make a mistake.
It was just a whole lot of anxiety, a whole lot of nervous thoughts and excitement bunched in one cluster.
5 minutes, guys, 5 minutes. Sometimes they are scared because there is a time that they're timed with, and also, it's just stressful. And then you got me watching you around your back and all that
Oh,
stuff.
das sieht lecker aus. Pass auf deine Finger auf.
At the
Oh.
end of the cook-off, the trainees' dishes are graded on a number of criteria. They'll be docked points if items are not cut properly, dishes are undercooked or overcooked, or if their sauce is not the right consistency.
The thing that you did wrong was supposed to be slices, correct? So
I thought we meant
those are rings.
Oh.
Yeah. But you did good on everything else. You overcooked your onions a little bit, okay? And they're a little bit too big, okay? A lot of the students did a lot of things right. The biggest thing is when they do cut-ups. Some of their cuts that they do for these products are either too big. Some things that are wrong is they don't
Ich hoffe,
drain
das wird alles
all
gegessen.
the liquids off of certain individual items. Presentation is important because it's all about eye appeal. So when you go to any restaurant and you serve something outstanding, that's going to show the people that you put your flair into it. You put your own artwork into it. Sauce, it's outstanding, good job. Salad, good presentation, and good cuts, right? So good job. All the trainees passed all their products today, so it makes me feel very happy. It makes me feel like they listened to what I had to teach, and they applied it to everything that they plated on their presentation.
And actually preparing it and see actually how you got all this put into one dish. It comes out so well. It tastes so good. It puts a lot of pride in your heart.
Ja, und wie skalierst du das jetzt auf 800?
Sure you use your rubber spatula to get all that sugary goodness inside the bowl.
Now armed with a foundation in the techniques of cooking, trainees move on to baking.
Well, everybody has a sweet tooth, but like I say, we're just not feeding soldiers, we're feeding civilians too. So we just make sure we give them a nice home away from home treat, and I think everybody deserves that. When you're putting your sweet potato pie mixture in your shell, ensure you do not get it on the edges or it's going to burn. Everybody
Sweet
tracking?
potato
Remember,
pie?
get your butter knife, you will stick it in the
Okay.
center.
Klingt
And
gut.
then pull out, it should come out clean. So if not, just put it back in there. But sometimes in techniques of cooking, they have trouble in that, and then they become the best baker in this section because they know they have to pay attention to detail and they can't skip any steps.
Baking is a science, and if you don't pay attention exactly, you're gonna get it wrong.
If we had a conventional oven,
Da sind jetzt die ganzen Leute raus, die die Rezepte vorher nicht lesen konnten.
From the bottom, it's taking longer for it to cook around it. I've learned a lot with Miss Harrison. She's a great cook, great teacher. So once your fruit pie and your sweet potato pie, when they're done, I want you to put them both on the same sheet pan. And then we're gonna present it over there by our numbers.
Once again, the trainees' finished products are graded on a number of criteria.
For my custard pie, you guys did a real good job. So the filling looks good, so now my eyes is going to the crust, okay? So that's what's gonna sell me, the crust. Whew, it's tight. Who's this, number 6, number 2, and number 7 again. You did a good job today.
The baking module of training also ends in a 50-question exam and bake-off. But for
Hast richtig scheiße gebacken, richtig gekocht. Das muss gegessen werden. Stehst da wie Knossi?
now, trainees get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The Garrison Operations module of training is a culmination of everything the trainees have learned so far.
It's the first glimpse of what they will see once they get to their actual unit after they graduate.
Trainees spend 5 days cooking in an actual Garrison kitchen at Fort Lee, preparing a variety of food.
Oh, richtig fetter armer Ritter, Junge.
We observed one platoon of trainees over the course of several mornings, which starts at 0500 with what's called a cook's mount.
It's accountability for everyone that's supposed to be on the shift. And we're checking for the hair, we're checking to make sure that it's nice, neat, we're checking for nail length, we're checking to make sure that there's no abrasions or make sure that they're not sick.
Once the trainees pass their daily inspection, they start preparing breakfast.
Dann gibt's da bestimmt trotzdem jemanden, der so drauf ist und einfach das versteckt, dass er irgendeine komische Krankheit hat. Es gibt auch immer irgendjemanden, der einen Zombie-Biss verheimlichen würde.
Think about when y'all made cinnamon rolls upstairs in small quantity baking. You're making it the same way.
Operations are a lot more thorough than what I had expected it to be. Everybody is assigned to their own station and position, and whatever doesn't get done in the end, we pick up the slack and as a team and work together to ensure that food gets handled out in an orderly manner.
Slice the entire ham up, cut it off, then you remove the ham, right, and you put it into your third pan.
Remove the ham, man.
For the first couple of days, I look for them to be sort of confused. They don't know where things are. They don't know how to turn on certain equipments and things of that nature. You want to kind of make it in a straight line, right? And then remember which ones you laid down first, right? Come Thursday and Friday, then that's when the instructors typically take a step back, and then we kind of let them operate on their own so we can see if they're grasping the information.
Even though it was stressful, it was really like hands-on, and you got to like learn and experience a lot more things, and you got to make more like meals, prepare dishes for like other people to eat, not just yourself and your platoon.
Thank you very much.
Trainees head outside for the 5th and final module of training, which is focused on field cooking operations.
So you're gonna alternate your meat between here and here. You know what I mean?
The equipment that we teach here at Field Operations Training Branch, that's the equipment that we use in the operational force.
But before they can start cooking in the mobile
Ach,
kitchens,
Wasser, ich dachte
On
schon.
lift, everybody raise it up. Ready, set, go.
1, 2, 3, on lift.
they have to learn how to build them.
Let me get 4 up there, everybody else down here on the ground. So the mobile kitchen trailer, we can use that when we got up to 300 personnel to feed 3 times a day and in basically any environment. Take a mental note of where everything is, all right? Because that's how we're going to pack it back up.
In addition to the mobile
Wie eine
kitchen
Knarre,
trailer,
rückwärts zusammenbauen.
trainees are taught how to build and operate the Army's containerized kitchen,
Oh nö.
or CK.
Einfach reinwerfen,
Kitchen,
ab zur
that
nächsten
is
Stelle fahren.
our largest field feeding platform. We're going to use our containerized kitchen more often in a situation where we've built up some infrastructure. We have the capacity to feed 800 personnel. And with our capacity to feed more people, we can bring more people in to support that area, to defend that area, and to accomplish those missions.
Watch your head, watch your head, watch your head, watch your head. The process of setting up the CK is very challenging because there's a lot of big moving parts.
You got to watch out for your battle buddies because there's a lot of things that's unfolding and spreading out on the CK. So you got to communicate.
Over the course of 2 weeks, trainees have to pass a 50-question exam and demonstrate proficiency with each piece of equipment.
Das Ding muss doch im Notfall innerhalb von 5 Minuten aufgebaut sein.
Y'all made that with love, huh? Y'all made that with love. They look good.
The final week of training is spent cooking in the mobile kitchens, and not just for themselves.
At any given time, we can have up to 300 or 400 personnel out here on the grounds. They're gonna break down their meals. They're gonna identify how many personnel they're actually feeding, and then they're going to actually prepare meals for everybody at FOTB, not just their group.
Okay, nicht alles einzeln eingepackt, sehr schön.
Nobody to turn on the MBU without my eyes on it. You got this burning right here and no food cooking. Stop. Put them on there. Again, nobody will turn on any MBUs without me visually looking at you.
Learning in the mobile kitchen, it's been challenging because it's different. It's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration.
Fricassee.
The aspect that I do enjoy the most in the mobile kitchen is the closeness I get with my battle buddies. I could just be like, okay, here's this, put this to the side for a minute, help them out, cool, spin around, help the next person, go back to what I'm doing. Like, we work as a team.
1 full scoop of oatmeal, 1 full scoop of potato, and 1 of these.
In my experience, their response to utilizing the equipment is by far and away positive. They like learning and they like seeing the fruits of their labor.
When we go to the field, soldiers are tired, they're running through missions, they're running through lanes, and then when they see you, it's almost like they're not tired no more because they got food, they got nice, hot chow, and that's just the most motivating thing.
Oh, nice.
According to Fort Lee, about 95% of trainees who start the course are able to graduate. Once they do, they'll be assigned to their next unit, either domestically or at one of the hundreds of Army bases around the world.
Training here has been an experience. It's been fun. I learned a lot of new things.
It's been
A
fun.
lot of different elements,
Right.
environments and stuff like that. So it's been great.
This job is not lower than any other job that's in the military. It's just as hard as any other job out there. What I think about food is morale. When they come out of the field doing, crazy things out there, and they have a good meal, a hot meal, then it makes them just happy and gives them more energy, and they're able
War
to
crimes begehen.
Yes, chicken burritos.